The financial world can feel chaotic, unpredictable. But what if there was a way to navigate the complexities and emerge ahead? For centuries, the ancient Chinese philosophy of Yijing has offered guidance in times of change. By tapping into the insights of Yijing, we can gain a fresh perspective on market trends and make informed decisions, even in volatile times. Central to Yijing's wisdom are the 64 hexagrams, each representing a specific situation or state of change. One hexagram in particular holds profound meaning for understanding today's financial markets. The 64th hexagram, Huo Yu Shui Wei Ji. This hexagram, often translated as before completion, speaks to a time of transition and unresolved issues. Imagine a fox cautiously crossing a river. The water is low but not entirely gone. This imagery resonates deeply with the current market environment, where progress is visible yet challenges remain. The 64th hexagram paints a vivid picture. A drought has left the river shallow, tempting a fox to cross. Overconfident, it takes a step, only to find its tail soaked. This, in essence, is the world of modern markets. We are enticed by the promise of easy gains, lulled into a false sense of security. The 64th hexagram serves as a stark reminder. We are not yet across the river. It urges caution, strategic planning, and a deep understanding of the forces at play. Look around. The world is awash in unresolved tensions. Geopolitical conflicts simmer, economic power struggles escalate. These tensions seep into every facet of our lives, including the financial markets. Just as the fox's crossing is disrupted by the unexpected depth of the river, so too are our financial markets vulnerable to global uncertainty. A sudden flare-up in the Middle East, a trade war, a natural disaster, any one of these events can send ripples through the markets. To navigate the markets successfully, we must develop a keen awareness of the geopolitical landscape. Only then can we hope to weather the storms and emerge with our financial well-being intact. The fox, in many cultures, is seen as a symbol of cunning and intelligence. But even the most cunning fox can fall victim to overconfidence. The 64th hexagram reminds us that intelligence alone is not enough to navigate the complexities of the financial markets. We may pride ourselves on our market savvy, but the market has a way of humbling us. It encourages us to balance our desire for profit with a healthy respect for the unpredictable nature of the markets. The fox, with its reputation for cleverness, serves as a potent symbol in the 64th hexagram. It embodies the seductive allure of quick thinking, of outsmarting the odds. Yet it is precisely this confidence that leads to its downfall. In finance, we often encounter investors who, blinded by past successes, charge headlong into ill-conceived ventures. The 64th hexagram offers a sobering reminder. Overconfidence can be our undoing. It urges us to temper our ambition with humility, to balance our boldness with prudence. It is a call for clear-eyed assessment of both risk and reward. The 64th hexagram of the Yijing Wei Ji offers profound insights into our current economic and geopolitical landscape. Let's explore how this ancient wisdom applies to modern challenges. Yunzi Yi Shen Bian Wu Ju Fang. This phrase emphasizes the importance of caution and discernment. In today's complex economic environment, investors and decision-makers need to carefully analyze various economic indicators, such as economic surprises from China, Europe, and the United States, as well as the upcoming US CPI data. Only through prudent assessment can one make correct decisions in a volatile market. Shui Huobuji reflects contradictions and imbalances in the market. For instance, while the stock market remains relatively calm, we see significant fluctuations in gold, oil, and bond markets. This contrast between different asset classes, like water and fire, unable to harmonize, reflects the divergence and uncertainty among market participants regarding future directions. Zhenji Hui Wang emphasizes the importance of adhering to correct principles. In the current market, this might mean staying vigilant and not being misled by short-term fluctuations. For example, before Federal Reserve decisions, investors should focus on long-term trends and fundamentals rather than overreacting to every news item or data point. The world today is a stage upon which a complex drama unfolds. Geopolitical tensions simmer, economic power struggles play out, and the very fabric of global order seems to shift. This global uncertainty has a profound impact on the financial markets. Just as a sudden gust of wind can send ripples across a still pond, so too can unforeseen events trigger shockwaves through the global economy. The 64th hexagram reminds us that we cannot ignore the interconnectedness of our world. To navigate this complex landscape, we must adopt a global perspective and be prepared for the unexpected. The 64th hexagram's imagery of the fox crossing the river highlights a crucial lesson for navigating financial markets. The dangers are often hidden beneath the surface. Markets may appear calm, but beneath the surface, currents of uncertainty swirl. In this environment, vigilance is paramount. We must learn to look beyond the headlines, to delve deeper into the data, to question assumptions. This requires a critical eye and a willingness to consider multiple perspectives. The 64th hexagram urges us to be wary of complacency and to cultivate a mindset of cautious optimism. How could ancient Chinese philosophy possibly connect to the ever-changing world of modern finance? The 64th hexagram speaks to a deeper truth about the nature of markets, the constant interplay of opposing forces. Just as the fox must contend with water and land, so too must investors navigate the push and pull of bullish and bearish sentiment. The key to success lies in understanding these forces and recognizing their cyclical nature. The 64th hexagram encourages us to embrace the dance of opposing forces and develop a long-term perspective. By accepting the cyclical nature of the market, we can weather the inevitable storms and emerge stronger. Water and fire, two of nature's most powerful elements, represent the inherent duality of the Yi-Jing. Water symbolizes the ever-changing nature of the markets, while fire reflects the volatility that can erupt at any moment. Market volatility, when properly harnessed, can create opportunities. The 64th hexagram reminds us that volatility is a force to be respected and navigated with prudence. By understanding the factors that contribute to market volatility, we can turn this seemingly chaotic force to our advantage. What does the 64th shuǐ hexagram symbolize? Imagine a fox cautiously crossing a river during a drought. Confident in its cunning, it steps forward but ends up with a wet tail, risking disaster. This hexagram symbolizes unresolved situations. Much like today's financial markets, it reminds us of unfinished business, the need for caution, and the thin line between success and failure. The resemblance to today's unpredictable financial world is striking, isn't it? In finance, our perceptions shape our reality. Optimism and pessimism exert their influence on market sentiment, driving trends and shaping investor behavior. Optimism can ignite bull markets, while pessimism can trigger bear markets. The 64th hexagram reminds us that neither offers a complete picture of the market's true nature. To navigate the markets effectively, we must detach ourselves from the emotional sway of these opposing forces. This requires a disciplined approach to investing, focusing on fundamentals, risk management, and a long-term outlook. By tempering our optimism with realism, we can make more rational, informed decisions. Why do market behaviors mimic a nervous fox? The answer lies in the unresolved tensions permeating our global economy. Ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, power struggles between economic giants, and persistent uncertainty in emerging markets create a landscape as volatile as the fox's risky crossing. The lesson here is clear. Diving into markets without proper caution can leave us with dampened profits, just as the hexagram warns. Market sentiment, much like a pendulum, swings between optimism and pessimism. This constant ebb and flow reflects the collective psychology of millions of investors. Understanding this dynamic is essential for navigating the complexities of the market. The 64th hexagram reminds us that market sentiment is rarely static. By paying close attention to market indicators and developing a nuanced understanding of investor psychology, we can gain valuable insights. This allows us to position ourselves accordingly and navigate the market's mood swings effectively. Is it possible to outsmart the market like the clever fox? The reality is, just like our furry friend, the market has its own agenda. It tempts with promises of gains, but can quickly change course, leaving even experienced investors outfoxed. Yi-Jing's advice? Tread cautiously, assess risks, and never underestimate the market's potential to surprise. Riding the waves of sentiment, a delicate balancing act. Imagine yourself as a surfer, paddling out to meet the waves. The ocean, much like the financial markets, is a powerful and unpredictable force. Success depends on understanding their rhythm, their power, and their potential. Navigating market sentiment requires a delicate balancing act. We must be attuned to the prevailing mood, yet not be swept away by its currents. Be prepared to adjust our course, to ride the waves of optimism and brace for inevitable crashes. By riding the waves of sentiment with awareness and discipline, we can navigate the market's ups and downs and emerge with our financial well-being intact. What happens when water and fire clash in Yijing? It represents the delicate balance between opposites, yin and yang, hot and cold. Financially, this translates to the constant tug-of-war between market forces. Economic uncertainties, much like the battle between water and fire, lead to volatility. The secret lies in understanding these forces and preparing for the unexpected. In today's information-saturated world, we are bombarded with a constant stream of news, analysis and opinions, all vying for our attention. Headlines scream about market crashes one minute and record highs the next, leaving investors feeling overwhelmed and confused. The 64th hexagram, with its emphasis on discernment and clarity, reminds us that not all information is created equal. In fact, much of what passes for news is simply noise, designed to generate clicks rather than provide meaningful insights. To navigate this information overload effectively, we must develop the ability to filter out the noise and focus on the signals that truly matter. This requires a critical eye, a healthy dose of skepticism, and a willingness to look beyond the sensationalized headlines. Instead of being swayed by the latest market rumors or the pronouncements of self-proclaimed gurus, we must seek out reliable sources of information, rely on data and analysis, and develop our own understanding of the forces that drive markets. This process of seeking clarity amidst the noise is not a one-time event, but an ongoing practice. It requires us to be constantly questioning, learning, and refining our own understanding of the ever-evolving world of finance. Why do economic uncertainties trigger wild market swings? It's a constant tug between optimism and pessimism. Geopolitical tensions, inflation concerns, and regulatory changes stir reactions in investors. Whether they pull back or rush in, the result is erratic market movements, much like flames dancing on water. Understanding the interplay of these forces helps in navigating such turbulence. The 64th hexagram, Yi-Jing, offers more than just a warning. It provides a roadmap for navigating uncertainty, a principle deeply relevant to modern finance. This ancient wisdom, when applied to today's market, encourages a measured, strategic approach. Consider the phrase "shenbian wuzhu fang," often translated as "carefully assess the situation before acting." In the financial world, this translates to thorough due diligence. Don't be swayed by hype or fleeting trends. Instead, delve into the fundamentals of a company or investment opportunity. Examine its financial health, its competitive landscape, and its long-term prospects. Furthermore, the hexagram emphasizes Zhenji Hui Wang, meaning adhering to correct principles prevents ruin. This speaks volumes in an age of algorithmic trading and get-rich-quick schemes. Instead of chasing short-term gains, focus on building a resilient portfolio based on sound investment principles, diversification, risk management, and a long-term perspective. Remember, the 64th hexagram encourages us to approach the market as the fox would approach the river, with caution, awareness, and a healthy respect for the unknown. Can markets sustain their recent rallies? Sentiment might remain positive, but whispers of recession are growing louder. Job loss fears and potential benchmark revisions in upcoming payroll data could challenge the illusion of a strong economy. Investors may start second-guessing record-high stocks, which could prompt sudden shifts from bullish to bearish sentiments. Market sentiment, that fickle beast, currently basks in a sea of optimism. Stock prices hover near record highs, and the talk of recession fades into the background noise. But is this bullish sentiment sustainable? Or are we witnessing the calm before the storm, a lull before the next market correction? Whispers of economic slowdown grow louder. Job growth, while still positive, shows signs of slowing. Inflation, though tamed, remains a persistent concern. These factors, coupled with geopolitical uncertainties, could easily puncture the current mood of optimism, leading to a sudden shift in sentiment. Investors, ever fickle creatures themselves, might start to question the sustainability of record-high stock valuations. Profit-taking could ensue, leading to a cascade of selling that sends the market tumbling. The 64th hexagram, with its message of caution, reminds us that the market, like the Fox's River, is in constant flux. Just when we think we've reached solid ground, the currents can shift and we find ourselves caught off guard. What's driving current market anticipation? The Fed's rate decisions loom large, with speculations of a 25 basis points cut in September. However, deeper cuts could be on the table if economic data takes a sharp downturn. But beware, a more aggressive cut might ignite panic rather than relief. All eyes in the financial world are now fixed on the Federal Reserve. The upcoming Fed meeting carries immense weight as investors eagerly await signals about the future direction of interest rates. Will the Fed continue its path of gradual rate hikes? Or will concerns about slowing growth prompt a pause or even a reversal of this policy? Speculation runs rampant. Some analysts predict a modest rate cut, a move intended to stimulate economic activity. Others warn that such a move could backfire, signaling weakness and triggering a panic in the markets. The 64th hexagram, with its emphasis on careful assessment, urges us to look beyond the headlines and the pronouncements of pundits. The Fed's decision, while significant, is just one data point in a complex economic landscape. Investors would be wise to focus on the broader economic fundamentals: inflation, employment, consumer spending, and business investment. These indicators, rather than any single policy decision, will ultimately determine the long-term direction of the market. Remember, the 64th hexagram encourages us to approach the market as a strategic game, one that requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to adapt to changing circumstances. What can investors learn from the hexagram's wisdom? Like the fox, it's wise to avoid rushing into the unknown. Thorough research, a deep understanding of the broader economic context, and a readiness for both gains and losses are key. In finance, as in life, haste truly makes waste. The world of finance, with its relentless data streams and ever-shifting trends, can feel chaotic and unpredictable. Yet, amidst this chaos, ancient wisdom offers clarity. The 64th hexagram of the Yijing, with its cautious fox, teaches us that success requires more than cunning. It demands vigilance, adaptability, and respect for the unknown. The modern investor, bombarded with information, should heed the Yi-Jing, embrace a longer-term perspective, grounded in careful analysis and prudent risk management. Can Eastern philosophy and modern finance coexist effectively? Absolutely. The principles of balance, careful strategy, and adaptability are not just relevant, they're transformative. Incorporating these time-honored approaches offers businesses a refreshing path to resilience and growth. The market, like the river, is in constant flux. Cultivate awareness, adaptability, and resilience. Integrate the Yi-Jing's principles into your investment approach. Make informed decisions, build resilient portfolios, and achieve financial well-being. Navigating today's global market is no easy task. It's a landscape filled with challenges, opportunities, and a bit of unpredictability. Yet, with insights from tools like AI and real-time data, we can better tailor our strategies to align with diverse economic climates. Want to stay ahead effortlessly? Our weekly updates bring you the essential insights you need, all in the time it takes to enjoy your morning coffee. In these volatile financial times, being prepared and adaptable is more important than ever. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting, keeping up with reliable sources helps you make smarter decisions. Remember, knowledge isn't just a tool, it's a superpower. Got questions or feedback? We're always here to listen. Unlock the ancient wisdom of Yijing to master modern markets. Don't miss our next deep dive into financial trends. Subscribe now and get ahead of the game. And as we wrap up this episode, a massive thank you to all our lovely viewers for your support. If today's video gave you a smile or an aha moment, give it a like so you can find it again when you need a quick refresher. Cheers and thanks ever so much for watching.